Senator Mike Rounds talks about revamping the Schumer-Rounds amendment. We've got that and a lot more to talk about today, so get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please hit like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Okay, let's just get right into it from Matt Laszlo at Askapol. So he caught up to Mike Rounds, a co-author of the Schumer-Rounds amendment, and he asks, Matt asks, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand recently met with AARO interim director Timothy Phillips. Have you reached out to AARO recently? Mike Rounds says, I've met with the folks from AARO, a month ago. I actually think that from what I can see, I think they're getting invited into areas where they're getting access to more and more information, which is good. I guess that's good. Okay. Secret silos. Okay, interesting heading. I don't know if we've solved the problem of the silos that you find within the DoD, where everything is so secretive at the special access level between the IC community and the DoD community in general, that there is a lot of overlap between folks who see the different programs. And I think AARO is recognizing that. I think they're probably going to be able to shed some light without threatening national security with some of the information. Caught our ear. Are you confident that Congress now knows of every SAP or special access program? No, I am not confident yet. They should theoretically, right? Somebody in Congress who is giving money to these programs should know where that money is going, and that is not the case. Are you confident that AARO is on the hunt? I am, he says. He is. What? I think the preponderance of the evidence is that AARO is on the hunt. Time will tell whether or not they are successful in actually getting into and asking the right questions. I think part of it is you have to ask the right questions to the right people in the right setting in order to get an answer. Okay, all right, interesting. Some whistleblowers still don't trust AARO, Matt Laszlo said. Yes, I understand, Round says. And do they understand that, Matt says. The answer, yeah, I'm not saying that I have full confidence in it. I'm just saying right now the evidence is that they're trying hard and that they seem to be making some inroads. But time will tell, and we're not going to let up on our interest in it. Hopefully we're successful in maybe answering some of those questions. All right, now about revamping the Schumer-Rounds amendment. Are we going to see a redo of your U.A.P. amendment with Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer? Tweaks, Rounds replies, but I can't talk much more than that about it. So yeah, they're thinking of some tweaks to the Schumer-Rounds amendment. Interesting. Okay. He also says to the question, but the talks have started? Oh yeah. There's some work being done. Okay, so there's some work being done on putting some teeth back into the Schumer-Rounds amendment that he co-authored, and he is still on board the AARO train, even though he acknowledges that whistleblowers are reluctant to go to them. So yeah, I would like his words to be a little stronger, honestly. But it is what it is, and at least he's still trying to push things forward in his own way. All right, now, meanwhile, people are still talking about Karl Nell's comments. He had some amazing comments at the SALT conference saying that, yeah, non-human intelligence is here, it's real, it's been here for a long time, and what's more, it's been interacting with the UFO control group, as he called it, the unelected people in government. So, yeah, the shadow government, the deep state, the cabal, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, really interesting comments from Karl Nell. Not everybody's happy about it. Joe Murgia says, I have mixed feelings about the Nell interview. Mostly good. The bad is Nell mentioning Hellier in a shed. The good is everything else. Yeah, so I didn't have time to get into that yesterday, but Karl Nell absolutely referenced Haim Ashed and Hellier from Canada. So yeah, Paul Hellier. And I think that's really exciting, personally. See, Karl Nell, being involved as he has been in Wright-Patterson, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman, he can't tell what he has seen personally. Very frustrating, but he can say what David Grush said is 100% true. He can say what Paul Hillier was saying is also true, and he can say what Brigadier General Haim Eshed said is also true. So let's give a little refresher on what some of these guys were saying, because they were saying some really interesting stuff. So here's Paul Hillier. Let's give a listen.
My nephew and said, give me the general's telephone number and give him a heads up that I'll be calling, because I thought I should check with him personally and hear his voice and what he had to say. And I had met him, so I knew who it was, and so I phoned him, and before I could even say, hello, how are you, what's the weather like, he said, every word is true and more. Those were his opening words. And he spent 20 minutes telling me the and more, within the limit of his oath. I guess it went as far as he could. And he said, and this was the most important thing he said during that period, was that there have been face-to-face meetings between United States officials and visitors from other star systems, period. No equivocation. And so with that assurance, and my own conviction based on what I already knew, I said, I'll go to the meeting. And at the meeting I said that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying overhead. And that was it.
And it's been reported.
So yeah, he has a lot to say. Paul Hillier was a really interesting guy, and he talked a lot about this, and he had a lot of interesting things to say about it. But yeah, that was one of the juiciest. That the control group is working with aliens. Yeah, absolutely. And they are. And that is also what Haim Eshed talked about. Haim Eshed, co-founder of the Israeli space program, Brigadier General, super solid guy, talking about how the beings are working with governments around the world, including the U.S., and that Trump knew about it, etc. Here's just a quick rundown of a few of the things that Haim Eshed was saying.
Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Okay, I'm not going to get too far into that, but yeah, Haim Eshed, super solid guy in Israel, saying that the beings, the Galactic Federation, as he called it, are working with governments around the world, and the leaders of the governments know this stuff, and that the beings, furthermore, want disclosure, but they've been waiting for humanity to be ready. So Karl Nell can't say what he knows, what he has seen personally, you know, NDAs and all that kind of stuff. But he can say what other people are saying is legit. And so there's this loophole, right? And so he is saying that, yeah, the control group is working with the beings. The leaders of, you know, governments around the world are working with the beings. That is huge, guys. That is huge. So, yeah, and Karl Nell, obviously a super solid guy. Love it. I love it. This is huge news, guys. Obviously, there's no way to, you know, for him to corroborate any of this yet, right? You know, which is so frustrating. You know, even like with David Grush, you know, they haven't allowed him to release any of the proof that he has. He delivered the classified proof of what he was saying and of the witnesses that he was speaking to Congress. And, you know, we haven't seen any of that. Are we ever going to see any of that? You know, 20 years later, maybe, you know, maybe sooner, maybe 19. I don't know, guys. I don't know. But it's super juicy. It's super juicy. And we'll just see how things go from here, because we do hopefully have those 40 plus whistleblowers in the pipeline coming out, going through the same Dobson process that David Grush has. Of course, it's the same process that has been holding up his op-ed. So if they won't even let him get an op-ed out, how likely is it that they're going to allow those witnesses to share the photos and videos of reverse engineering UFOs, right? But hey, I live in hope. I live in hope. Meanwhile, Ross Coulthart is talking about the Vatican announcement, you know, with this guidelines for, you know, paranormal activity and certifying apparitions and stuff like that. And he has the really good point. What does the Vatican know? Well, let's give a listen.
It's also the fact that, as my interviewee David Grush, the former senior intelligence officer, told me last year, there is a direct allegation made by David that the Vatican is fully aware of the phenomenon of unidentified anomalous phenomena, or of the reality of non-human intelligence, because they were allegedly involved in the retrieval of a non-human craft from Italy to the United States in or about 1944. But let's come back to the rules for a moment.
Okay, yeah, the Mussolini UFO crashed in 1933. Mussolini studied it. He got Marconi to study it and a bunch of others to study it. I think they even involved the Germans. And then the end of the world, the end of the war, hopefully not the end of the world, but the end of the war came. U.S. came over there. The Vatican was, to the best of my knowledge, the ones that alerted the U.S. Of the existence of this UFO. Yeah, they knew about it, and they told the U.S. So what else does the Vatican know, right? They probably know some stuff. They probably know a lot. They've probably known for a long time. Yeah, but what about these apparitions? Well, here's one from a few years ago. Blessed Mother's apparition caught on my BlackBerry camera. Okay, let's see what the story is on that, because there's a story here. Oh, and this was sent to me by Tim Clark, so thank you so much, Tim. A statement of fact of my recording of May 2nd, 2010 in Bosnia. On April, in 2010, I was on my second pilgrimage to Medjugorje. I tried, guys. I tried with BVM pilgrimages. The first pilgrimage was in late October of 2009, also with BVM. From Friday, April 30th to Monday, May 3rd, I was present during 3 apparitions. 2 of these apparitions were with visionary Marija, of which the first was on April 30th outside her private chapel. The second of Marija's was on May 3rd, was in a gymnasium at a new intern school for disadvantaged young people, 20 to 30 minutes by car in some beautiful mountains outside of that town. On Sunday, one of the other visionaries of the apparitions was scheduled to be present at the lowest Blue Cross of Apparition Hill, where she would have her scheduled second of the month apparition of the Blessed Mother. Scheduled apparitions. Okay, maybe I'm not understanding that right, but that is wild. Anyway, the story goes on. A lot of details. Is it legit? Is it on the money? Hard to say. Are we actually looking at an apparition here of the Virgin Mary or of some other being? Could it be like the lady, like Chris Bledsoe's The Lady, or the Lady of Fatima? What are we looking at here? Is it a hoax? Is it, what's going on here? And there's, obviously a lot of these, and that's what the Vatican is talking about, is they want to be the ones that certify these events as legit. But what they really want is control. And I don't want them to be the ones telling us what is real and what is not. We are the ones that are in charge of what we believe, not the Vatican. That's my take anyway. If you see a ghost, you don't need to go to the Pope to say, hey, I saw a ghost. Was it real? You know what you saw. I mean, you may not know what it was, but, I don't think that the Vatican or the government should be in charge of the nature of reality, but that's just my take. I don't know if this is legit or not, but either way, it's super intriguing, and it's certainly not the only one of its kind. Meanwhile, Brian Forster is again talking about the elongated skull beings of Paracas and around the world. And here he's talking about the differences between regular human skulls and humans that are the product of skull binding. and the genuine elongated skull people that are not strictly human. Maybe they're hybrids, I don't know what they are, but he's done such great research and he has such great points here that I forgive him even if in the same video he poo-poos the Nazca mummies. Come on, Brian. Come on. Get on the Nazca mummy train already. Just do the research. Do the research. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Okay, here he is.
Head binding. This is definitely an example of head binding. But what do we have here? Look at the complexity of the shape of this skull. And this is that skull compared to a normal human skull. We have these suture lines in our skull, all Homo sapiens do, but here the Paracas are missing one of the sutures. That medically is supposedly impossible. We also have these holes called fontanelles, or foramen, sorry. The elongated skulls have the holes in the backs of their skulls. And here where the arrow is pointing, that's where your muscles attach for your neck. And in the Paracas, they're extremely larger. And this hole, which is the foramen magnum, is in the center of the skull, but in the Paracas, it's significantly farther back. And this shows you the difference between a normal skull on the right and the Paracas ones on the left. Again, notice the shape of the foramen magnum in the normal skull compared to the Paracas.
Okay, and he goes on, those pictures are kind of grisly, but super interesting, right? There were elongated skull beings on this earth hundreds or thousands of years ago, and they had, they seem to have come from the area of the Black Sea, maybe Crimea. That's what he believes, because there are also elongated skull remains that are found there. And, whatever the case is, some of them came here or are, to the New World, South America, and were interacting with the human cultures of the time. And, is there some relationship between them and the Nazca beings? Because they weren't that far apart. I would love to know the truth of that. Wouldn't you guys? I'm so intrigued by the Nazca beings and the elongated skull people. And I would, love to know what was going down in Peru thousands of years ago. Let me know your theories in the comments below. Meanwhile, James Fox gives us an update on his newest movie. He says, as is the case most of the time, we had a couple of very powerful and credible individuals come forward at the last minute. So we paused the narration session with Peter Coyote until the end of next month while we insert the new material throughout. It will be well worth it. Okay, great. I can't wait to see who he's got on his show. Who are the new people? Does he still have Jason Sands in light of the controversy around him? Very curious. Maybe James Fox, the information presented in the movie, will get more people on board the Jason Sands train. Now, I think that we need to take whistleblowers very seriously and give them a lot of respect. Ross Coulthart has talked about them going everywhere armed because of fear of their lives. They are really risking their life bringing us this information. But that said, we do need to vet it. We need to know that we're getting the real information. So there's kind of a mix of respect and also vetting that needs to take place. But I would hope the vetting is done in a respectful way. Now, I'm just as happy for Jason Sands' information to be disproven because I really don't like the idea of 20 and back. I mean, that rubs me the wrong way, guys. It does not work for me. But I am willing to hear him out and to see what the evidence is. And the fact that he didn't want to talk about that part of his experience, he talked about a lot of stuff, but he didn't want to talk about that. He said he was still processing that. So to me, that seems genuine to me. But, again, it's hard to corroborate any of this. And he certainly can, or at least I haven't seen it. So, yeah, but either way, my mind is open and I'm willing to go wherever the evidence leads in a respectful way. Last but not least, just a girl hanging out with her water buffalo. Nothing to see here. Check out this. Look at that. He runs over there like a puppy. I love it. I love it. Look at this. That's awesome. You're so excited. You're so excited. Oh, come on. Come on. Now I want a water buffalo. Don't you want a water buffalo? Okay, all right. Like and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, the bell to be notified of future videos. Yeah, join me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, links below. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, grab a t-shirt or a coffee mug in the merch store below, or become a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Also, channel members frequently get to see videos hours ahead of everybody else. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.